Alright guys, Hatchcraft again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Quite the day of CDL action to close out the weekend here with storylines from start to finish. It got spicy at the start and it kept getting spicier for the rest of the day. Lots to dive into today. Very much into your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. First of all, the Ravens. This was, as of today, well obviously as going forward as well, the Ravens facility. As well, I don't know if they ever called it a facility or whether it was merely like an expectation from the community that they would actually have a facility, but look, it ain't a facility. What it is great vibes. I mean, here are the boys in like effectively a LAN party setup in someone's apartment. So I think Fellow said that they like these guys, the actual players, they have another apartment elsewhere that they live at, and Brian Saint has the penthouse. So not exactly sure where they play from, but whatever. They've got this setup going. Here are the boys, and like this is just sensational, right? The cable management doesn't exist. I don't know that with the tables in the center of the room. Okay, cable management with all the stuff and the PCs, it ain't easy, but you know, this just gives me great LAN party vibes, and it's cool to see that it's actually working out for these guys so far. This was another angle of it actually as well when it came up on the stream here. So yeah, here are the guys, and well, obviously it's worked out for them. They finally got everyone in business out there in Charlotte, in North Carolina, to, you know, hopefully turn around their season, because they have been Ravens solid on LAN this season. They were top 8 at Major 1, they were top 6 at Major 2, and sometimes they look like genuine contenders, and sometimes, most certainly online, they've looked like literally the worst team in the world. But thankfully, they're not the worst team in the world. That honor probably belongs to the Los Angeles Guerrillas right now, although I'm not gonna lie, on some of the performances I saw today, there is a debate to be had on that. Online, I think Guerrillas have got to be the worst. I think they play Boston next week today, so I mean, yeah, that's going to be quite a sight to behold. I imagine that truly is the blow it up bowl, if these teams even remain the same by next weekend, because I think they probably will, but I'm not sure they should at all. So Ravens take the game 1. There's not even so much to say on this other than Ravens just handle business against a shockingly bad Guerrillas team online. It was interesting because this same thing happened against New York, right, where Ravens went up like 4-1 on the Rio Surge. It was then 4-4. And then they just decided, all right, so let's close it out, and they won the final 2. And they do that again here. So Ravens go up 2-0, then they close it out 3-0 on the high-rise control. And there were some moments that Guerrillas could have possibly won. And yeah, they're vibing out big time. Los Angeles Guerrillas, not the same story at all. I just don't know why they haven't done anything with their team yet. Surely it's been so obvious for some time that you've got Flames just chilling on the bench. He's boys with Estriel from back in the day, and that remains true to the present day. Why not try him in the roster? Assault's been pretty bad, but I did want to give credit to Ravens, really. Sure, this is a series they should win, but it's a series that they won pretty emphatically. Okay, the maps weren't absolutely dominant or anything, but it was good enough, and as Brian Saint says, really happy with our teamwork. TJ and Tyler, that's also true. I think TJ has been playing better, it seems to me, ever since they've kind of got this facility set up going, and, you know, they should only keep on getting better. So I'm liking the look of Ravens right now. It's tough to say who is the 5th best team in the game. Maybe it's tough to even say who the 4th or even the 3rd best team is of the game right now, because there is a lot of debate to be had on it. But Ravens got to be trying to put themselves up there in the conversation. Thought this was cool as well that Kennedy and Nagafen both working with those guys, like Kennedy on the analytics, Nagafen on the assistant coaching side. So, you know, fair play to Ravens. They're bringing in other staff to help work on their team, and it seems to be making progress. Just a big shame to me they don't get to have an event in front of a crowd in Charlotte, right? Because that was meant to be where the major was going to be. They will go into that major, I imagine, with a pretty solid chance of making it to the World Championship. And it would have been such a great storyline had they locked in their champ spot on LAN in front of the home crowds. But that ain't gonna happen because the CDL is a bit of a shambles, and maybe that's gonna change next year. Just a quick look right now for Stage 3. Gwyn has a 1.22. He's been frying. He's got a 1.10 plus in all game modes this stage, and as Fame says, just hasn't felt the same since the major. But I don't know if that's just online or whether these guys are just eternally doomed, because it wasn't pretty. The numbers aren't pretty. Assault, I don't know if he's got like some sort of blackmail on these guys. Like, I don't really understand why he's still here. He has 44 kills, a .77. I'm like, it's not adding up to me why is Salt still in the team, especially because people say they don't have money to make a change, but they've literally got an AR player on their bench. Like, surely you've got to try it. I mean, come on. It's like Surge last year not trying Gwyn for Mac, when in hindsight you think they should have at least given it a go, right? Even if it didn't work, surely that would have been worth a try. The next series was honestly kind of like pouring bleach in your eyes. Like, this was bad. Some of the plays that I was watching here, it was the dead bowl, whatever you want to say. Gunless versus Beans. Just a quick recap from roughly a year ago. Gunless basically just called out Beans for, at the time, what seemed like no particular reason. So basically, Gunless, it seemed, was pretty frustrated that he wasn't in the league, and he was just roasting Beans, and then, you know, they kept on doing it. They had a bit of a back and forth here, and Gunless was roasting him, basically saying, look, how many championships have you won, buddy? And Beans is then roasting him back and saying, look, you know, you're stuck in challenges. So they finally are back in the league, and they're about to play each other today, and this series could not have been any closer from, you know, an actual result perspective. But man, was this incredible to watch, for all the wrong reasons, to be honest. So game one, Boston started off well. Snoopy actually, you know, started off double positive here, but actually Accuracy had a really big takeover game. Stanley didn't do much. Accuracy and Lins today were the standouts for me. Gunless also wasn't particularly impressive, and I'm not going to lie, Minnesota Rocker, had they have signed Beans instead of Gunless, I think there's a question that, because Gunless has been good so far, but I do think that they are going to need a bit more consistent slaying, and I'm not sure that Gunless is necessarily the guy. And Beans is a straight shooter. Like, everybody who has watched Beans knows this to be true. He brings the energy. Sure, does he have flaws in his gameplay? Yes. Would I have preferred an AR duo of Slasher and Beans rather than Beans and Priester? Possibly yes as well. Even just from like a leadership perspective, as opposed, because I'm not sure what Priester does in that role and whether it's that valuable. At the same time, though, it was Priester and Beans today that actually played the best on the team by a margin, and it was the SMGs. Well, one of the SMGs in particular that we have to talk about here that I, of course, dropped a seam for. But I definitely think bringing in Beans was the correct call, for who was obviously a matter for debate, but I think he's played very well so far. Didn't matter, though, in the end. Stanley has a rough game one, but Accuracy has a really good one. They take the game one, and they take the game two in emphatic fashion. Not exactly sure why Boston played Invasion. I think their record on it is pretty bad, but I guess they thought, well, two-man change minus Slasher minus Asim, and this is, you know, like, the Asim thing is a matter for debate. For me, getting rid of Slasher was very questionable, because sure, their Search and Destroy hadn't been good, but if you get rid of Slasher, is your Search going to get better? Pretty unlikely, and I don't think the Search and Destroy woes were Slasher's fault, to be perfectly honest, and they now have a new problem in their Search and Destroy, a certain player that we shall get into, and it was the same thing in Boston series last weekend, and man was it the same thing today. So yeah, Boston lose another 2 searches to lose a series. In fairness, they do start to bounce back in it. They win the control 3-0 actually quite emphatically, but Penta here starts of 0-6, and you know, this guy Pentagram, there's been talk as to why he hasn't got a chance in the league. And, well, I think we're seeing why he hasn't got a chance in the league. This is the issue with some of these players. You know, they're stuck in challenges, they're grinding hard, they finally get their spot, lots of pressure on them, obviously, and they're not delivering basically anything. Like, the plays in the Search and Destroy were so criminal, and it's not like he is frying in the respawns or anything. I think you can see why some of these guys in challenges that are understandably frustrated they're not getting spots, you know, you can see why it doesn't happen, right? And, yeah, Pentagram was... Obviously, Doug likes Penta, play with him, believes he's the man for the job. But, yeah, I'm not seeing evidence of that so far at all. And honestly, if I'm Boston, I'm thinking about dropping Pentagram tonight if there's a better upgrade. Because what I saw Game 5 was criminal. Like, there's literally no other way to put it. Anyway, Boston with the control. They then bounce back nicely and win the hard point in actually one of the most entertaining fashions of the entire season so far. This was insane, and it was basically Beans doing it all. Beans pops 1, pops 2, gets the 3rd on Accuracy, pulls out the pistol, absolutely destroys Stanley for the 4-piece, then he gets killed by a nade from Lins, so that prevents him getting the initial tick, and then the Boston guys push into the point. Even this was really touch and go, and fair play to Pentagram, actually, he does get the 2-piece in the end here to close out the game 252-30. Remarkable game of hardpoint, and that was Boston getting the win. And Beans 37 in 25, 26 non-traded, you know, 15 dead screamed. I've got a couple of clips of that to share for you guys at the end of the video, but this was the game 5, and man, this was a sight to behold. Fair play to Penta. Nice little 1v2 he clutches out. Actually, I didn't think he'd quite got it, but he did. Gets the first one, and then gets the kill onto Gunless here, and Gunless finds himself in a bit of a tricky spot. Pentagram just about gets the kill in time, just about gets the defuse in time. But what happened after that was absolutely mind-blowing stuff. They let Stanley, by the way, clutch a 1 versus 3 here. Like, he gets one, goes into the pool. They don't trade him out properly. Beans goes down, and then, yeah, Pentagram can't quite get the trade in time, and it's a bit of a mess in the pool. But, you know, you got to think that maybe he could have been closer there to try and get the trade. And maybe, yeah, mistakes on both sides, of course, and they bottled it a fair bit. Penta gets the kill. Doesn't matter, though. No time to defuse. But what is going on here? This is the rounds that absolutely blew my mind. So this is a 4 versus 4, 4-4 at this point right in the game. It's obviously competitive, and the Boston guys are effectively stacking A. They've got 3 guys, if not 4, over towards the A site, and that's where Minnesota Rokkr are attacking. Pentagram is down low. Number 2, Priester has his back. He doesn't have to worry about his flank or anything. All he has to do is stand there, you know, pre-aim, shimmy about. If he wants to back up, he can back up, no problem. He dolphin dives around the corner, and I don't know what's going through his head to do this, but he just dolphin dives around the corner and dies. Like, he just threw his life away. And he did the same thing on that Karachi search when he jumped off top 3, whatever it was, and dropped the bomb there when Boston lost that search last week. Like, the amount of times Penta just blacks out and throws away his life in search, I just don't know what's going on in his head. Like, there can't be much, because he throws away his life for no reason. They do take it round 11. And then this. I mean, this is round 11 here. They get the first blood. Snoopy gets it onto Linz. And, I mean, okay, there must have been a miscom here somewhere, because someone's got to watch the guy coming around the right. Like, are we serious right now? Like, that is where the trade is going to come from. Stanley just slides around the corner. Beans is laying down here watching, like, left. Snoopy's watching right. Pentagram has to be watching his background. I mean, are we serious? Stanley just comes around the corner and gets a free kill, turns around, kills Snoopy. Beans is in a really tricky 1 versus 2 gunfight. He nearly gets one, but he doesn't. And then Priester can't clutch the 1v3. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. Genuinely some of the lowest IQ search and destroy plays from an individual that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I just don't understand what was happening. So, yeah, Boston go down. And if I'm Boston, I'm thinking, yep, that weren't great. We dropped a seam for this. And sure, Beans in is definitely a good move, but they've not improved Boston where they need to improve. Like, they have no dog. They have no ice. What is this? And I don't think Rokkr are good either. Like, the way they played this series, I don't really think they've got any better with this move. They might have got slightly better, but I don't think they've got substantially better at all with the Stanley for Vivid and the Gunless for Awakening thing. Honestly, if I'm Boston, I'm really thinking, Vivid, can we maybe sign him, like, tonight? Might be a good idea, but I'm not sure they will, to be honest. And we did get a response from Slasher as well, who obviously had his feet up enjoying the show, because Boston did lose the Game 5 round 11, so, you know, I didn't really care who won that series. I was kind of interested to see if Boston did lose, to see if there'd be a Slasher response, which there was. But just the manner that Boston lost actually frustrated me so much. And then Gunless, who didn't have a great series, but he did get his chance to shine, saying, yeah, stealing dope is the best when you give them a bit of hope. GG's Boston, 1-3-2. And these were the overall numbers. Beans and Priester had good series. You know, Snoopy, to be honest, I think played well as well. He was pretty much even. But yeah, Pentagram, 69 kills, 0.8. 13k damage, like, where is he? And those plays in search. If they do keep him in the team, he has got to make drastic improvements, literally, like, tomorrow. But oh baby, the final game of the day, and to think that I thought Toronto had a chance in this series, like, little was I to know that Cold War FaZe are officially back, and maybe in some regard even better than how they were back then. That seems like a scary thing to say, but honestly, back in Cold War, I don't think there was quite the level of competition there is today. And the way FaZe play today, it's like, I don't understand how you beat that. Optic right now seem like the only team that can come close, and even they have struggled massively so far this season. So, look, we know there was drama here. Scrap versus Draz. Both guys wanted to win. Both guys trying hard. They played, pretty interesting map sets. Sure, a map set that I think is pretty good for FaZe here, to be honest, but a map set nonetheless that Toronto should have put up a better fight on. Sure, Clinics, nice little 5 kind of spree to open up the game. It was looking interesting. Then quickly it wasn't looking interesting anymore, and FaZe just pulled away in this game 1. And that's what I'm saying, like, back in Cold War, you had aBeZy, you had Simp, you had Cell, Fryin, and Arcetes was filling the gaps and doing what was necessary, but he was relatively rarely taking over. at the moment, Draz is taking over some games, as you might have expected when this team was formed. On paper, made so much sense for this roster, and I feel like even just from a mentality perspective, Draz is like the perfect piece to fit with these guys. I honestly think that like if Kenny was here and if Draz was on Optic, I don't think either team would be quite as good as they are. I feel like the personalities work better with the guys they're around, and wow, is it impeccable for FaZe. Really on the Toronto side though, they played bad COD today. Like, you should be able to get close to FaZe as a solid team. You shouldn't be getting embarrassed like this. Like, FaZe made Ultra today look like Vanguard's Paris Legion. Like, this was bad. And Envoy, 7-19. He finished out the game getting slammed. This is Celium shooting bodies, as he does. Let me just rewind real quick. Yeah, takes down Scrappy, shoots bodies. This is what he does. And look at these numbers. Envoy's last 9 hardpoints in a row. And honestly, when I was looking at those Pentagram plays, I'm thinking, damn, Hixie, you got to feel bad for him because Hixie's not even in the league. And sure, yes, is he going to give you a 1.2? No, he's going to give you a 0.8, 0.85, 0.9, something like that. But he's going to make the correct plays. And this is the interesting debate right now with Ultra, is that Envoy's numbers are worse than Hixie's were in hardpoint. I mean, this is just tragic. What do I even say about this? And it's been the same story now for a long time. Can't seem to figure it out in that mode. And their hardpoint has fallen off incredibly drastically, Toronto Ultras, over the last, well, certainly since stage 1. And, you know, they were just getting their body shots. This was just so clinical from FaZe. Like, it reminded me of multiple Cold War Atlanta FaZe series where they would just run through teams. Like, I know the casters used to joke about this back in Cold War as to how quick the FaZe series would be over, and the feeling was that whenever FaZe played, it was going to be a 3 in about 30 minutes. And that hasn't really been the case this year, or certainly last year, and even the year before that a little bit, until now. And FaZe, I don't know, 150 HP, Simp is borderline beyond human at this point. And I mean, this is the scoreboard from the Surge. They got completely crushed off the face of the earth. Inside had a shocker. You know, Scrap was still probably their best performer, to be honest, today. And there were quite the tweets hitting the timeline as a result of this. Man, I don't even know what to say. The scoreboard was messed up on this one, by the way, but Simp still ended here with more kills than a couple of the Ultra guys combined on this final control of the series. And it was just so dominant. Scrap head in hands. The rest of the Ultra guys mind blown at how they've gone from where they were in Major 1. Sure, meta changes, but wow, do we have lots to discuss over the coming days. Draz picks up the camera and he absolutely lets Scrappy know what he thinks, right? So yeah, I don't exactly know what he says. Difficult to lip read this because the lighting wasn't as good as it was for Preds 1 yesterday. But this is the contrast in fortunes right now between those two respective players and those two respective teams. Scrappy says, GG's FaZe. Terrible COD from us. Got to get way better before the major because in less than a month's time, we'll be in Toronto for the major where FaZe will be heavy favourites and Ultra will be at the home events. They will need to, you know, find a way to win. And right now it's difficult to say there's too much evidence that it's going to happen. So yeah, I don't even know what to say about the scoreboards. The red carpet came out in such an emphatic manner. This looks like top 4 team versus my ranked play squad, rather than FaZe against theoretically the number 2-3 team in the game. But right now it will be called into question whether there certainly isn't a top 4 anymore, I think, with the way that subliners have gone. And there's an argument to say there's not even a top 3, or who knows if there's even a top 2. Is it just FaZe and the rest? And some of those, the rest, are above the rest of the rest. But, you know, I think the dynamic of the league has changed quite dramatically over the last couple of weeks. And honestly, a couple of months ago, when I told you guys, well, there's a good chance all of the top 4 teams not maintain their rosters, but don't blow it up. All of a sudden, I'm now looking at a dynamic where it's quite plausible that we do get 11 teams making changes at the end of this year. FaZe might just be that dominant that it forces everyone to change as they did after Cold War. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Wow, what a day. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
Play.
Game 5.
No, but he waited. No, that's a good play.
Oh,
I thought he did it way too slow.
We might just see another.
It extends it. That was really the only thing they could have done to even push this. They cannot let him get a second. Wait, Gunless used to.
Oh my god, please, no.
Oh my god. Wait, Beans,
that's a 2-piece for the win.
He's able to pick up 2.
3
gosh,
for the
my
win
god.
for Beans.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Literally gets
takes the squad wipe and wins you the game.
Oh my God, it's not over yet. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's not over. Oh my God.
Rocker, they've got no more lines on the point. Accuracy comes.
Oh my God.
What the? Bro, Beans just went fucking nuts.
We need to see.
There's three. No, there's nobody. No, one's between. That's the one. I got it. I'm tricking. Say up. 2 minutes front. Yeah, 2 minutes. 2 more steps. Go to time instantly. Oh my God! Mid. Top flat. Take it top flat. One more. Nice! Come the fuck on, baby. Fucking pistol. Fucking go, baby. Come the fuck on, break him down now.